Hi folks, today I'm with Colin from Battle Systems and we're here to talk about the Kickstarter that Battle Systems have got run at the moment for this absolutely fantastic fantasy terrain. So Colin, tell us a bit about it.
Okay, so this is our sixth, I think, product that we're going to bring to the table, the fantasy terrain on Kickstarter at the moment, and the fantasy is a strange one because generally we're sci-fi guys. I'm a sci-fi guy myself, but I've had these fantasy designs for quite some time, a good 3 or 4 years. But as you know, with like Core Space and our games, we've been on this sci-fi drive, and I've just been like, I just really wanting to get all this, kind of onto the table, and to finally get a chance to work on the fantasy terrain has been fantastic.
It looks fantastic. I mean, we've obviously been having chat as well before we started filming, and I saw this for the first time in the flesh at the UK Games Expo, and I saw some pictures online prior to that. When I saw those initial pictures, it was like, wow, this really does look fantastic. Seeing it in the flesh at the expo, I kind of come up and I was looking at the roof tiles and stuff, and they look so 3D. I mean, you've designed all of this. How on earth do you get from an idea in your head to this stuff?
Okay, well, the first thing you do is a lot of research. Not too much, because you don't want to just be kind of like get yourself bogged down with what's actually in the real world, because this is fantasy. You need that kind of you want to have that kind of twist on it. You want your own design ideas in there as well. But you start with an idea, and like most of our terrain, that it's that ability to be able to have a modular, something that you can set up and go, you know what, I'm playing this game, so I'm going to need these buildings and I'm going to need it like that. So you've got to keep that in your mind the whole time that you're doing the designing. But at the same time, you want to be able to be adapted and sort of kind of say, well, look, I need a big building, a small building. I just need to make this larger, smaller, and be able to build what you want for your game.
Yeah.
So you have to think about that when you're designing it as well. And then it's just the textures and making sure that you get that real sort of fantasy kind of filter to your to your table.
Yeah, I mean, we've just been talking about that. The kind of the colouring of this really does just feel fantasy. It's not muted to the point where there is no colour, but it's not over the top kind of high fantasy, like sort of bright colours, if you like.
No, definitely not. No, without a doubt. When we was talking, I was saying about this is my natural art style. So for many of the terrain ranges, I have to kind of push the colour into my work. But for this, it just without a doubt, it was the most comfortable artwork that I've ever done for the designs, because this is where I live as far as the textures, the colours, and the feel for me. Yeah, definitely.
And I guess what you've got here is I say a generic fantasy without trying to sound disrespectful, but basically for roughly 28mm to about 35, 36, something like that, is it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we always say, for all of our terrain, we always say 28 to 35mm will work perfectly fine. There's enough height in the rooms and all the rest of it. It's generic enough that whether you're playing historical games or whether you're playing, like Frostgrave fantasy games, Kings of War, Vanguard, that kind of thing, whatever the game you're playing is the buildings are going to fit. They're just going to fit right in. They're going to look and feel like they belong on the table. And there's plenty of little design flourishes in there that really give it that really nice fantasy feel as well. So we kind of lost track of the amount of games that you can play that it fits in with.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few now as well, especially obviously Song of Ice and Fire has come along now. Vanguard, Fire, Kings of War's relatively new as well. But then you've got enough terrain to scatter around for the bigger scale things like Kings of War, those big kind of army 6x4 games as well.
Yeah, and I've been really careful here. So you mentioned things like Song of Ice and Fire. There's particular terrain pieces, there's particular lengths. We've made sure that certain things like walls and things are a certain length, so they can be immediately used in those games. But the idea is that we can really kind of whatever set you pick up from us, it will work in a skirmish game. So you can pack it down really tightly and have it like really just perfect for any skirmish game.
Yeah.
But if you're play a war game and your miniatures are on trays and you need space between, you can also take the terrain and still fill a 6'4" table with just one set and have it perfect for a war game.
Yeah.
So Vanguard, for example, you know, you can play that's your skirmish, or Kings of War, that's your war game. This works for both.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want with a skirmish game. You want it to be quite tightly packed and feel like you're in a village, or you're in a town, or you're in ruins. When you're playing on those bigger games, you want space to maneuver and stuff. So
you do.
It works really well.
It does.
So what we've got on the table here at the minute is, because at the minute on Kickstarter you've got 2 different versions, or 2 different pledges, if you like.
Correct.
One is is it town or village? Or?
Yeah, we've got a village pledge.
Yes.
Yep.
And then the other one is the ruins as well.
It's like the battlefield, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we've got village and battlefield. This is I've just made a little mix of a couple of bits and pieces here. So we've got mostly village bits and pieces, but we've also got some ruins and some walls and bits and stuff as well. So and of course, because it's battle systems, you can you can go inside every single building, you know, and that's for me. I mean, I'm a skirmish gamer, so when I was younger, it was all about. There was nothing worse than marching a character up to a building, and all you can do is like hide around the corner from it. For me, I'd be like, well, if this was real, I'd want to get into that building, run and hide upstairs or something like that, because I'm a coward. Every building you can go in, you can go in the ground floor, you can go in the upper floor, wherever you want really.
And you can kind of mix and match the two bits together as well. All of the kind of fittings are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're known for modular terrain.
Yeah.
Our ranges are like Lego. You can build huge big space stations if you want, smaller ones. And with our fantasy, it's very similar. So for example, our monastery ruins are 100% modular, and you can just move that around. Now with our fantasy buildings. We've also put some like real bespoke parts in it, things like the curved roofs and certain areas. But despite that, there's still a kind of a large range of modularity. So you can extend the house, make it twice the size, make it taller, give it 3 floors. You can put an extension on the side. You can open the back out, and later on with some of our ruined bits and pieces, you can take it and you can just ruin the house, and so there's a lot of modularity. Like I was saying, if you've got a game and you're having a skirmish game or a D&D game or something like that, and you're in a house and it catches fire and is destroyed, you can literally on the spot remove a wall and put a ruined one in there, or just destroy the house and have it still there in the game and fight through the ruins.
That's fantastic. I mean, we were having a little look at it earlier on as well, just to show some of the modularity and stuff. One of the things that really impressed me, and I mentioned it, is the buildings have got floors in them as well.
Totally.
So a lot of stuff you pick up maybe some MDF terrain, or you pick up some sort of resin things that don't necessarily can't come apart. With these ones, you lift the roof off, the top floor's got a nice floor in there, all the way down to the bottom as well, so it's not like you kind of get to the ground floor and all of a sudden they've got grass for a carpet.
Totally.
It looks fantastic. It's those little touches really sets this apart.
It is, yeah. You just said it, you just hit the nail on the head. For me, it's the fine stuff. It's having a little bit of wood scatter, leaning up against the fence. It's the fact that, you can open the doors. It's, you want to go upstairs, there's a floor there, but there's a trap door in the floor, and you can poke it and open the trap door, because it's important for me. If I'm going to walk through a door, it's important that door needs to open. I don't want to fake anything if I can handle it, So for me, that's massively important.
Great. So from a Kickstarter point of view, two different pledges together, but you can pledge and have them both as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've made sure that there's no duplicate items between the pledges. So, and again, we've got, the village is predominantly, you would think of as like a skirmish pledge, but you can spread it out for a battlefield as well. And vice versa, the battlefield pledge is, predominantly for battlefields, like the larger war games, but you can then drop that down into a skirmish kind of size as well. And because there's no repeats between the pledge, if you want to jump in and grab 2 of them and you'll basically get all individual pieces, no duplicates, and it just covers every gaming option. You know, if you're like, okay, right, I'm going to start my game. I'm going to be in a village, and it's going to get attacked, and then there's going to be a retaliation. So we're going to go back over there, and we're going to breach their watchtower, and there's going to be a siege or whatever, and we're going to attack them in their home, in their monastery or whatever. You know, that's what you can do. You can kind of just say, it's like, right, I need to have a fight in a monastery. I need a bar fight in the tavern. You know what I mean? Then if you jump in and take 2, then you're going to have everything you need for every game. And of course, because it's a double pledge, you get like double the stretch goals as well.
Of course, yeah. So talking of stretch goals, so when we're filming this at the minute, it went live yesterday, the Kickstarter.
Yes, indeed.
So we've already seen, I think, is there 2 or 3 stretch goals already unlocked?
Yeah, I think 5 maybe. I think we're at least 5 down.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, and I think with the stretch goals, we're having a little bit of fun as well, because we've got some. I mean, I think the first stretch goal was kind of like a single house. It's just like, it's a big thing to give us a stretch goal. It's kind of like, there's a lot of components in that, and then we're giving some all the things you need for your battle, for extra fences and bits and pieces like that, and more roads and that kind of stuff. And then it's like we've got a stretch goal, which is like, and now there's a bottom part, and your single house becomes a 2-story house, and so we're going to try and build that up over the stretch goals as well. So you're just getting like whole buildings of stretch goals, which is crazy. We're just less than 24 hours in, and we're already knocking down the stretch goals. We're funded really, really quickly. Already the fastest growing Kickstarter that we've done, and we have some great Kickstarters.
Of course.
We've got some fantastic supporters out there who really look after us and appreciate what we do. So I'm just dead chuffed that everybody's loving the latest offering. I'm
not surprised they funded as quickly as it did, because as I've said to you as well, that it just looks so good. The quality of it's fantastic. I've obviously seen the core space stuff as well, and some of the sci-fi terrain that you've made as well.
Yep.
And I think I've mentioned kind of in my review actually of core space, card terrain's not something I would have necessarily maybe looked at in the past, and seeing it firsthand and that sort of building it and playing with it and seeing the modularity, seeing just how it really does bring your gaming table to life. This now from a fantasy perspective, and I think it's not unfair to say that this is kind of stepped on again from where some of the sci-fi stuff's been as well.
Oh, without a doubt.
Whilst that is fantastic quality, this stuff actually is just, it's things like those curved roofs, the little bits of modularity, the scatter of things. It just brings a battlefield to life.
Definitely.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. Again, you hit the nail on the head. What's interesting, you mentioned the expo. We had all this set out on a huge 4 foot table, and the interest that we got on all of our terrain, was great. With this particular fantasy visit, we have done some rather clever things, and it is the curves in the roofs, and it is the little touch that we've made that kind of disguises the fact that it's made of cardboard, as it were. And it's not just any cardboard anyway. I mean, we use, and we've been doing it for years now. We've got special secret ingredients, as I've said probably many times. But we do stuff with cardboard that nobody else does. And I mean, a little bit behind the scenes, the amount of manufacturers that have come to us and said sort of like, oh wow, we want to do this for you, and then we say, come and have a look and come and see how it's done. And they get there and go, we can't do that. They just can't even get close to the accuracy. We have special. We do use a special kind of high density card as well, which. As you said, you play core space. Some of those components just feel like plastic. They're like, until you realise what they are, you're just like, oh my god, I don't believe it. And at the expo, the amount of people said, oh, this is amazing. Who painted it and stuff like that. and then you're kind of like, you get them to go in a bit closer, and you're like, you lift the roof off, and and it's just like, I can't believe it. They're just like, they just can't believe that it is card. We do stuff with card that other people just don't do.
I think, to be fair, saying that it's card terrain almost does it a disservice, because in your head, card terrain is the stuff you print off yourself at home and sort of glue it on the back of cereal boxes or something. This is just, it's a different level, isn't it? It's something completely different.
If you can't tell the difference, then it makes no difference. And the big advantage for me, and it's on a Kickstarter video and various videos over the year. We put our terrain through all sorts of abuse, throwing it downstairs, and tipping loads of miniatures all over it, and The beauty of the card terrain is that, you know, you move in a house and you drop it down the stairs. You just go down and pick it back up again, and it's exactly the same. There's nothing to break or fix. And the other beauty is that when you're done with it, you can flat pack it down and just store it in your shelf. So, you know, we can fit everything we got on the table here in, you know, a small A4, you know, box. And just like store it in your shelf. I mean, you can literally you can be like, right, I'm going down the gaming club. I need a little bit of ruins. I need a house for that objective, and I need a couple of bits of scatter. And you go, right, I'll take that off the shelf. I'll take that, stick it in your bag, and off you go. You know, so yeah, that's a big advantage for me.
I mean, this stuff really has its place in the market. If you're not somebody that likes to paint terrain, if you're not somebody that really wants to spend big sums of money on terrain, like for example, for the pledge level of this, am I right? Is it like £75?
£75, yeah, £75, yeah.
£75 for a table full of terrain doesn't buy you much in the way of like a resin building or something like that. The resin building might look fantastic textures and you can sit and paint it for months on end. But if you just want to get a fantastic looking table of terrain together to play the vast majority of your games, this stuff really does fit the bill.
It's perfect, yeah, because you could, like I say, even at skirmish level, tightly packed together. It's going to fill a 3x3, which is what we, you know, our pledge sets at. You know, and yeah, I mean, you'd have to spend 3 or 4 times that amount to get anywhere close, and then you've got to build it, and then you've got to paint it. You know, and you know, I mean, it's the whole reason that I started doing this, because the amount of times I would buy a game, I won't play a game without painted miniatures, so I'd paint the miniatures, and then I'd be like, okay, now I need the environment, and I'd spend like 3 months, 4 months building the thing, and by that time. The enthusiasm's gone. You know, I get the game out. I've just wasted so much time doing that. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the building as well, and I always enjoyed it, and that was part of the journey, and has got me, you know, where I am now, as far as like design wise and stuff. But life is busy, you know, and to be able to get something for £75 that is pre-painted and is ready to game straight from the box, which you can pop out and an hour later just have, like, you know, first outing, a table set up, ready to game, painted and everything. You can focus on your miniature painting and all the important stuff and actually playing the game.
I was just going to say, actually playing it, there's so many people who never get to play the games because they don't have terrain, they can't afford to fill a full table of it, or whatever it is. This is just a way to make the game look fantastic really, really quickly.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so don't forget, on Kickstarter at the minute, if you do pledge against this, you're obviously going to get a bit more than you would do at a retail level.
Oh, yeah, a lot. Yeah.
I'm being generous.
Well, based on our previous campaigns,
based on previous stuff, but it is going to be available at retail later as well, as once the Kickstarter is finished and it's shipped.
Absolutely, yeah. Over the last sort of 12 months to 18 months, we've been pushing out into retail now as well, and obviously with Core Space and our terrain products, and actually that has gone down. That's all gone down really, really well, and we're getting lots of. We like to support the gaming clubs as well, so it's one of those things where, I mean, we've got a retailer pledge, for example, on the Kickstarter, so that's a bonus anyway, which gets your store a demo table as well, big demo table, so that you can get that out. So it's really important to make sure that we make this as accessible as we possibly can for everybody.
Brilliant. So it would be amiss of me if I didn't ask if, because we've got a sci-fi game now based in Core Space, based in kind of your sci-fi terrain universe, can we see something similar from a fantasy point of view? Okay, so a couple of 3 years ago, when we started designing our now sort of, you know, prevalent sci-fi range, we knew Core Space was coming. So we put a lot of design features into our terrain, cargo crates that open, that just happened to fit all of the components to Core Space game. Wasn't a lucky accident.
It wasn't a lucky accident, yeah. So now I can tell you now that whilst designing this terrain, I've been very careful to make sure that the cargo, the treasure chests and all that kind of stuff is specifically designed to be able to take the kind of possible future gaming components to enable us to do to use the very solid core mechanic for Core Space, and turn that into something very special.
Awesome. I look forward to hearing more on that in the future.
Yes.
So, Kickstarter is live now. It ends July
19th, I think.
July the 19th.
Yeah.
So you've got a little bit of time to get in there and fund it as well. So make sure you check it out. There's a couple of, as we said before, there's a couple of pledge levels. There's also some add-ons as well for mats and things as well, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, a lot of gamers have got their kind of. If you're a war game, you're bound to have a 6x4 mat. But if you haven't, then we've got some really nice sort of 2x2 mats which you can kind of mix and match around to give you sort of like slightly different texture for each setup. Yeah. We've got some good 3x3 mats. We get every Kickstarter we've ever done. We'll be like, "Where's the 3x3 mats?" Yeah. And we're like, "Well, you know, if there's enough demand for it, this time we've given you the 3x3 mats, so we've got those on there. We've got a tavern add-on, and we've got lots more add-ons to come as well. So if you just want to jump in and grab a building, you know, just say, you know what, that tavern is just amazing. I just want that one
what
thing.
I need for my table.
Exactly, and then you can just like flat pack it into like a little case and put it on the table. Your job done.
Fantastic. So yeah, I'll have a link to the Kickstarter down in the description of the video. I'll also have a link to the Battle Systems website as well. So go over and check out some of the sci-fi terrain, some of the kind of post-apocalyptic things for like Walking Dead, that kind of stuff as well. Oh yes,
definitely. Yeah.
So check all of that out. Thank you very much, Colin, for sort of spending some time today and showing me what this amazing stuff.
Great, thank you very much.
And I'll see you all in the next video.